+1 Forward, the podcast powered by the Apocalypse, where we talk about tabletop role-playing games using or inspired by the Apocalypse engine. I'm your MC Rich, and we have our guest, which is Blake Ryan. How's it going, Blake?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been an interesting year.
Saying something, absolutely. Well, Blake is a returning podcast guest. You might remember him from our Don't Pay the Ferryman episode. It's been a year since we've last spoken. So I have to know, in that time, what PBTA game has impacted you the most since then? Beyond your own game, of course.
Yeah, the most, I'd have to say, Jotunweird. It's Alan Rees of the Gauntlet's been running sort of Dark Ages England. It started as a hack of Monster of the Week and just sort of evolved into its own thing. And I think he's done about 30 sessions now or something. It's a lot of people have played and, yeah, really enjoying it. We had a sort of family thing going on. Will had a warrior, and then I played his brother-in-law, and I also played his daughter, and then Pavel played the daughter's cousin. And, you know, while we're telling our own stories, we're kind of adding to the other stories as well, because this family of adventurers are out there fighting monsters, and yeah, it's been good.
That sounds really fun. Fantastic. Well, let's jump on over here and read a sitch. Read a sitch. In Read a Sitch, our guest talks about a specific issue of play, a journal of play, observation of things happening in an ongoing Powered by the Apocalypse game. Blake, I'm really interested to dive in here about your Read a Sitch topic. What did you want to talk about today?
Yeah, just sort of checking in, because a lot more people have moved to online games, and because we're not just gamers, there's a person behind the gamer, so you just say, hey, how's it going over there? Are you doing okay? Because it's not just political unrest in the States, there's stuff happening in Australia and a lot of other places as well. 2020 has been a real roller coaster, not just because of stuff happening this year, there's sort of years of, sorry, I have to get on my high horse here, sort of years of political unrest, of government mismanagement or neglect, and it's just the environment's not good, there's media not being objective and just going for sensationalism, and it's all seemed to have coming to a head last year and this year, and there's people in England that have been told, okay, stay home because of COVID, you're not going to get paid, but you have to get retrained for a job you may have when this is finished. And that's a huge amount of emotional and financial stress on an individual, let alone a family. And then that person's got to go to a game and just expected to be all systems running? Nah, they've got, stuff to deal with. So you just say, hey, you doing all right? You want to talk for a bit? Some people do, but some people don't. They just, nah, I don't want to deal with reality. I've shut the door. I want to. Been thinking about the game. I've been looking forward to this.
So is this a thing, Blake, that you do like at the start of the game? Do you carve out sometimes and say, hey, we're going to just chat, 10, 15, 20?
Yeah.
Or is that a thing you do situationally based off of how you read the room?
A bit of both. You say, hey, anyone need to talk or, get something off their chest? How are we all doing? Some people will go, oh, X in government's being a bloody idiot and stuffing things up, and I'm like, that's cool. I hear what you're saying. I hear they did blah, 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 and let them have a bit of a rant for, a couple of minutes, and then you sort of reel it in. You can generally tell by their posture and the first couple of words they say if they really want to talk, or they seem a bit down and quiet, you say. It's just a thing that comes with practice. Because, you're not a psychologist, but you can at least say, hey, you want to talk about anything, because you want, them to feel better because they're generally your friends or whatever, but also you want them to engage in the game and not just be burnt out from reality, because they're not going to be a good gamer if that's the case.
Yeah, I hear you. Let me ask you this. What about if one person really looks like they're eager to talk, but another person is just, hey, I want to get into the game? How do you balance those two needs or those two expressed needs from folks?
Yeah. You can just say, look, hey, maybe we can have a chat after the game or during the break or whatever, and let them know that you want to talk and you'll give them that time, but we'll do that during the break or after the game, or continue this sort of later on sort of thing. Just acknowledge that they want to. And sometimes even that's enough. They're like, sorry, I don't really have time, but it's cool that you reached out.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to alienate the other person. It's like, no, I don't want to talk about any of that. It's driving me bonkers.
I've been there. Yeah, that's cool. So one of the things that I've did recently in a game that for me is Friday evenings.
Yep.
But for a few folks that had different time zones, one of them was literally just getting off work. Another one had just been home and able to eat. And so they really needed something to help them transition out of long week, long day of work. And I actually there are just a few that are good for online spaces, but some of the Improv for Gamers that Evil Hat put out, I want to say like a couple of years ago, some of those exercises transition okay to online, even though there's asynchronous, so some of the stuff's timing related and it gets a little weird, but it's still pretty funny. I found that to be pretty helpful. Are there any, other than just talking about it, any other things that you use to help folks kind of transition or get used to, hey, we're in the gaming space now?
Yeah, you do the personal sort of chat first, loudly saying, okay, game on, we're using, this is a tone, this is a setting, this is a safety tools, cats. So now if you make that a regular formula of tone and setting and then safety tools and cats, and then you get into the game, just to let them know, okay, now it is game time.
Yeah, I agree. I think that ritual that I use in a lot of my games helps folks to make that transition of putting all the things aside. And often, you're preaching to the choir, right? You're 4 games into something. The safety tools haven't changed. It's just a little bit of reminder, but a little bit of that ritual of play that helps people get in the right headspace. Yeah, definitely. It's really cool. Is there any other tips you want to throw out for folks on checking in?
Yeah, just being willing to listen. Sometimes, whether it's you use Twitter and Facebook or the Slack channel or whatever, and just saying, hey, I'm here if you need to talk. We can do it during the middle of the break of the game, or we can do it after the game, and just saying, I'm here to chat. We're all going through some stuff. It's a bumpy ride at the moment. Not that last year was peachy, but yeah. But I think gaming can help us in terms of empathy and understanding, and also just de-stressing, getting some spoons back.
Yeah. And I think the last thing I'd say is just, this isn't something that I was even aware of until the gauntlet, but make sure that you use the safety tool of open door, right? There's some people who just can't put it aside. They're not in the right headspace. Yeah. And not asking them to leave, but more making sure at the outset, hey, we do have an open door. If you need to step away for a bit, walk around, call a break, anything along those lines, that I think that's a really helpful tool as well. And if folks just aren't able to be in the right headspace to game, don't guilt them into sticking around.
Yeah, if they drop out at the last minute, just say, it's cool, hopefully we can game another time. There's a lot of stuff happening in people's lives, so you can't be too stringent on it, unfortunately. Yeah, it's frustrating, but, there's a lot happening.
Yeah, I think that's great. Thanks, Blake. I really appreciate that chat. Let's jump on over here and talk about your game, though. I want to open my brain to this thing you've brought to us, okay?
Whenever you say open your brain, I think about that Star Trek episode where Spock helped operate on his own brain.
Open your brain. So in Open Your Brain, our guest discusses an Apocalypse Engine game, and Blake, we're talking about a game that is on Kickstarter as this episode comes out. What is the name of this game that we've got on Kickstarter?
It's called Season of Dreams. So Season of Dreams is a role-playing game where your characters go back and forth between modern Earth and the Gloom, which is a reality inspired by Celtic mythology, but also modified by your character's dreams, memories, and actions. That's the elevator pitch.
That's really interesting. So it's a dreamy thing, otherworldly thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not one big trip into the Gloom and then you come out and that's it, game's over. You're going back and forth like The Magicians or Neverwhere or the Garth Nix novels. So you've kind of got a double life.
Oh, so you exist in that space. You don't just dive into it and deal with a thing and then come back to it.
No, you physically go there and all sorts of weird stuff happens.
Is it a hard cut, meaning that people in the modern day won't see anything from the Gloom bleed over?
Oh, no. There's some magic and some creatures and stuff running around, but nowhere near as much. And most people won't click. They'll think that basilisk coming down the alley is just someone's escaped iguana sort of thing. Unless it's blatantly obvious, they'll try and rationalise it because they're busy, they've got other stuff in their mind. This can't exist.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as one of the groups found out, stuff can follow you home when you come back through the portal. It's not like, I'm good now, my life's safe. It's like, no.
That's good. What mechanics in Season of Dreams might be different from someone who's used to just playing, say, Apocalypse World?
Well, I mean, it's a different genre because it's a mixture of fantasy and modern supernaturals. And the other world, it's not just a label attached to some items and creatures. It's a physical place that you go back and forth to. You know, still 2d6 and 7 and 9 mid-range and all of that. That's all the same. There is, if you roll a double, certain effects are triggered from that.
Oh.
So, in terms of mechanics, yeah, that's an ongoing thing you watch for.
That sounds fun. Is that a thing that triggers events that the MC would put into play?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And if there's 3 rolls in a row that people do doubles on, it's written in that the MC can go, no, I'm going to stash one of these, because otherwise you can have too much happening. And it's like, no, let's just deal with what's already going on rather than just have a Black Hawk Down sort of scenario where it just keeps escalating and escalating and escalating.
That's pretty smart, because I have to be honest with you. I hit a point running Impulse Drive recently. After 4 fails in a row, I'm like, I can't, it's just, all the moves are hard. I'm going to put this on a shelf. I like that you've got a mechanic to say, we're going to save this up and let it tick off another thing. That's pretty cool.
And plus, I think that adds to player investment in the game because they know you've stashed it. They know that rolled that double. So they're like, oh, this is still happening. Yeah, I know. It's sort of mechanical foreshadowing.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, absolutely. And it's great for a game that has gloom and scary dreams and monsters to have that ticking time bomb of a known thing out there. That's good. What would you say your favorite move in Season of Dreams is and why?
Okay. I don't know if you call it a move, but part of the rules is certain things trigger a gloom event. One of them is rolling a double, as we've just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Character action. If you do blasphemy against the 9 gods in the gloom, which are Celtic gods from Celtic mythology, including things like slaying a druid or destroying a shrine, speaking out against the gods in a public rally or something, that triggers a gloom event. And the third thing is player choice. If you get a 7 and 9 on like a physical task or weaving magic, you can go, I'm going to have a gloom event. And then the weaver will roll for what that is. So you've got something the character does, something the player rolls, and the player's just choosing, yep, I'm going to go for a gloom event. And it's just giving narrative currency to the weaver and saying, yep, have fun with this. Now, I'll point out a gloom event, it's, unusual or magical or weird events happening. It's not just an instant combat encounter where they're trying to kill you. That's not what this is about. It's just something interesting is going to happen. Your life's about to be more eventful. In one game, 100 badgers rocked up and started sort of swarming the area. They weren't attacking anyone. They were just, and everyone's just like, oh no. And there was a camera crew there, and this person got called the Hedgehog Whisperer and stuff like that. It's just, life's going to be interesting.
You said that it was a roll on a table for the gloom event?
Yeah, it's the one thing the Weaver rolls. They roll on a 2d8 table, but everything else is player-facing.
What's this D8 thing you mentioned?
Come on, D8s need love too. But yeah, it's the only thing the Weaver rolls. There's certain settings, sections, and gloom rolls where they roll 2d8. Everything else is 2d6 player-facing rolls.
I take it that the MC is called a Weaver. That's a pretty cool name for an MC, I gotta say.
Yeah, I was trying to be thematic. Originally I called a moderator, but it's like, that sounds a bit too clinical, and it kind of presumes there's a problem. Whereas Weaver's like, no, you're all part of it.
Good call not calling it a Dreamweaver, because then the song would just...
Well, it kind of leans into that without being obvious about it. But yeah, gloom event could be reverse gravity in that area.
Now, is a gloom event... Is it a static table? Is it a thing that the Weaver is encouraged to create?
There's 3 separate tables based on the terrain you're in.
Oh, cool. So, yeah, you're here, then this could be the potential things. Okay, I like that. And it's a 2d8 table, so you've got 15 different results.
Yep.
Have you ever hit a point where the same result keeps coming up and it, triggers some kind of, it's got to be this type deal?
Yeah, you can do that, or you can go... No, I'm just going to roll something else. It's the Weaver's call.
Okay.
Because in the end, they get to sort of spice the story as much as they like. You could, if 2 players do doubles or one rolls a double and the other one chooses a gloom event, you can go, okay, this is going to be a big event, and we are going to go for the Black Hawk Down scenario where everything just escalates and a third party rocks up and then magic goes funny. But that's, obviously you don't want to overdo that, because if you overdose on the weird, you can only escalate sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to flavour the mundane versus magical, which is all covered in the principles and agendas stuff. Add some spice to your food, but don't overdo it.
I like that. That's a good analogy.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, I said modern world, but at the start of the campaign you decide whether you'll start in 1819, 1950 or 2010 and then go from there. Because that way some people like the more Victorian era or the modern era or whatever, and you decide that as a group and you go between that time zone and the gloom and back and forth. But also it gives the game itself a more replayability because you can go, no, we're going to do Victorian era this time.
Is there any connectivity between those three specific time periods?
No, I just wanted something a bit more sort of spaced out. Yeah, just give people options to sort of what flavour without producing a completely new game.
In the book, will you have anything talking about this time period? Like any helpers for folks like me who aren't really great at historical games?
Yeah, there's some sort of brief notes about, this is what this setting was like in 1890, this is in sort of 1950, which is sort of post-World War II. Because the default is you start in Salisbury, England, but obviously you don't have to, you can hack the setting if you want. But I guess it's more, I call it modern supernatural instead of urban fantasy, because there's not a lot of big cities. It's not Urban Shadows, because Urban Shadows does that really well. We don't need another game. That one's already got that covered sort of thing. It's more... Salisbury's a more market rural town, and then in the gloom it's medieval Celtic sort of base. So, yeah, there's much more villages and running around the countryside.
Yeah, that is definitely different from what I'd expect out of Urban Shadows. I like that. Well, you got me pretty excited here, Blake. I'd really love to jump on over and maybe we could give this a little bit of a try, a little bit of a demo and Act Under Fire. What do you think?
Sounds good.
It is time to act under fire.
All right, in Act Under Fire, our guest runs a bit of their game, and I get to play it. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite parts of every game-focused episode. So we're going to be playing Season of Dreams. I have created... I gotta say, I love the different species that you've created, the player character species here. And it was hard choosing which one. I definitely didn't want to go human because I play human in my
in real life.
Day-to-day. I've chosen a tree spirit. And I love the look you have here. They have almond-shaped eyes. They are tall and slender. And I've decided that I'm going to play the best Chris. No, actually, my character's name is Pine. That was a real bad joke. And I need to choose a virtue and a vice. The virtue I've chosen is kindness. And the vice that I've chosen is greed. So I'm a little greedy, but generally kind. That does seem diametrically opposed. We'll see how it goes.
So you're going with 2010. So it's Google, iPhones, microwave, chicken nuggets. It's all fairly modern. Alrighty, so we'll start with your starter session move. So in this case it's foretelling. You get a vision of a possible future. So you roll 2d6 plus charm, we'll say.
Okay.
You got +1, because this is +1 for it, of course.
Perfect. Alright, with a +1, that is a 9.
Okay, so you have to select a place like in a cave, in the hills, in a town, in a swamp. Some sort of geographical location.
Let's go in a town. I love this idea of Salisbury. That sounds fun.
Okay, so you have a dream about a town, but you either over or underestimate the value of the location. An example might be you have a dream about having find some interesting tourist knickknacks there, but you're actually going to meet your true love there. In that case, you've underestimated it.
I see. I think that the overestimation of my dream is that this particular town has a great deal of riches. I'll be able to make all the money I could possibly want by traveling to this little town. That's my dream.
Okay. So you wake up in your flat, you look outside your window, and you can see the town that's from your dreams. And you look around and realise you're in the hills outside that town now.
Oh, wow.
And because you've been to the gloom before, you know you're actually in the gloom at this point.
If I make a bunch of money in the gloom, can I drag it back to the real world and spend it?
Yes, you can.
Ah, good. Well, then I'll happily jaunt down the hill towards the town.
There's a bit of a wooded valley as you go towards town. There's pine trees. I'd actually pick that before you chose your character. Okay, so you wander through the town. It's a small village, mostly wooden huts with thatched roofs. It's probably 1,000 huts sort of thing, so decent-sized village.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people talking in the centre of town. Yeah, sort of a gathering around you can sort of go closer or you can avoid them and look around other places while people are distracted.
I'll go eavesdrop a little bit, maybe introduce myself. So I know I'm in the gloom.
Yep.
They're not going to freak out when they see that I'm a tree spirit, right?
No. You probably would have been from the gloom originally. In this place, you actually look like a tree spirit. Yeah, I should have pointed that out earlier. When you're in Earth, you have a human form.
Oh, okay, cool.
But here you're in your natural form, which is whatever sort of tree you want to look like, basically.
I think I look a little like Groot, just so we have a physical kind of reference there. Good morning.
Oh, look, there's morning there. There's jobs going at the mine, apparently.
Problem with the mine? Okay.
No, they're gonna. There's jobs. They're gonna start one up. They found some copper in the hills.
Ooh, the riches. I hear the clinking of copper coins in my mind. This is it. This is what I dreamed about. Oh, a new job in the mine, huh? It's even better than trouble. Whoa. Point me in the direction of the mine, friends.
But he's like, yeah, well, this guy's organising it. He's looking for people to have book skills. They can organise people and shifts and stuff like that. I don't get it. I don't really understand it. Yeah, the person sort of chatting to the crowds, he's looking for a foreman to organise rosters and shifts and who's working when and where and who's going to do digging, who's going to do hauling and, yeah, that sort of thing. You can sort of investigate more or you can go about the village doing something else.
Oh,
you can pick some pockets, break into houses. It's up to you.
This is crazy so much. No, I think I'm going to get my money legitimately. I'm going to work this job. Foreman, huh? I have no qualifications, but I am personable.
Alright, there's a bit of a cool breeze. It's late afternoon. Alright, the plant guy tells you, my name's Shane. I'm looking for a foreman to sort of manage people.
I'm the tree that you want not to leave.
Okay. I'll get you to do a mental task when you're chatting with them.
Okay.
So roll 2d6 plus 1 in this case.
Oh, that is a pitiful 6.
Excellent. Oh, sorry, that's a tragedy. Okay.
Oh, is it XP on a fail? Do I get that salve?
Yes,
Yay!
it is.
I marked my first XP.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with the weather starts to turn worse. It sort of starts to rain and it gets colder, which probably doesn't bother you as much as regular humans, but you'd still notice. Makes your leaves curl in a bit.
That's right.
He's like, alright, well, yeah, we better... My hut's just up here if you want to come for a chat.
All right, I'll follow Shay.
There's something familiar about them, but hey, you can't quite put your finger on it.
Shay, do you ever travel across the gloom into the mortal world?
I haven't. I'd like to. It's,
You just seem familiar. I thought perhaps you had a human seeming that I knew.
He sort of stops and peers at you, and you notice he's got the same eyes and smell as you.
You look awfully familiar, friend. Shay, are you from around these parts or another part of the gloom?
Another part of the gloom. I've been travelling doing odd jobs. Try not to stay in one place too long. And the sun setting, and he sort of opens the door to his hut. Like, come in. I've got some stew on.
I'll head in. Take a seat.
All right. You want some stew, or you just want to chat?
Oh, some stew sounds lovely. I haven't eaten since I woke.
Since you're both plant dudes, it's going to have bits of dirt and roots and all sorts of stuff in there. It's not going to be human stew.
That sounds good.
It'd be like if your kids have ever made a mud pie, yeah, it's going to be a bit like that, but stew.
I like it.
Okay. So he's making that, and he's... Yeah, I need people to someone to manage people. Yeah, I might be going from a few different places, coming back when I can, so he can sort of oversee what's happening and just keep an eye on things. That'll be good.
I could do that.
Do you have a place in town, or...?
I do not have a place in town, no.
So, well, yeah, you're welcome to stay here if you need to. I won't be here that often. And it's a decent-sized hut, so there's another room off to the side. Outside the window, you can see, and there's a couple of owls under a tree sort of watching your window. So you look out and they're already watching you. The rain's pattering away. It's getting darker. Shane seems to be packing stuff into a bag.
Ah, are you leaving already, Shay?
Yeah, I'll have to leave at short notice, but yeah. So you got here from Earth, the other place?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a portal around here, do you know?
Yes, but I couldn't find it if I wanted. I came through a dream.
Ah.
When I woke up, I was here. But I could look for a Weaver. How do I find portals?
Well, you've been here several times. There's generally strange rock formations nearby. There's also, sometimes it just happens, like on a seasonal equinox, there's a high chance of going back and forth between Earth and the gloom. If you do magic near a sacred shrine, quite often you can get moved back and forth. Yeah, but in terms of geographically, then yeah, there's sort of strange, weird rock formations that are out of place with the stuff around them.
Do I know of any shrines that are near here?
Yeah, there's generally a shrine in each town to the 9 gods. And yeah, you got to try some magic there.
Yeah, Shay, if you want to check out, I may be able to open up a portal near the Shrine of the 9 Gods here in town.
He sort of looks out, sees the owls. Yeah, okay, that might be good. So he hands you a bread roll, which is just a big sort of lump of bread. It's not sliced or nothing. It's a bit more medieval situation here. Yeah, he's like, all right, let's go.
Munching on the bread and rushing through the raindrops, I will lead Shay to the shrine.
You get to the shrine. It's a big sort of collection of stone monoliths. There's no one there because it's night time.
Right.
It's early night time. They might sort of visit at midnight, but yeah, it's all quiet at the moment, aside from the rain. You notice there's about 10 owls in the area just sort of watching.
Huh. Is that normal? I saw the couple of owls at Shay's hut, and now I see 10 owls here. Is that weird?
That is a lot for one area.
It's quite a lot of owls, I say to Shay.
He's like, yeah, I know, and he appears quite scared, and he's sort of looking around, agitated, and he's checking stuff that's in his bag. He's like, yeah, if you could do the magic, that'd be good.
All right, let's do some magic.
All right, this is Weave Magic. Roll 2d6 plus 1 in your case. So easy being plussy, isn't it?
It's so good being Plussy the Pine. All right. Oh, much better. No XP for me because, look at that. I just got double sixes. That's a 13. Sounds lucky for me.
Yes. Roll with what was already happening and just escalate it.
Oh, great.
There's now about 60 owls.
Is this an owlpocalypse? Is that what you're doing to me?
Could be. Well, kind of. So, you notice the owls have 4 wings instead of 2, so sort of 2 on each side. And there's something in your back of your mind that thinks, hang on, this is one of the manifestations of the wild hunt. And Shane is visibly shaking. He's like, quick, where's the portal? He's quite stressed out. So, you did open the portal, but you also triggered the gloom event, so there's sort of a shimmering, starry doorway that's spinning around slowly. And he's just like, is it ready? Can I go through?
Oh, yes, let's go. And I put my big branchy arm around them and guide them towards the starry fissure that is the portal.
Okay. Just as you're about to, you push them through, as the owls are swooping in, one of them says in your mother's voice, "It's dinner time now, love."
Weird.
And you...
Just so we're clear, my mom wasn't an owl, right?
No.
Okay.
And you step into your kitchen, and we'll leave it there.
That's nice. Oh, wow. That is some wild, weird stuff. Thank you, Blake, for running a bit of Season of Dreams. That is wild.
That's right. It often gets weird, but it's supposed to. That's what it's designed to do. Twilight Zone was definitely one of the influences on the game, because I love that show.
That is really cool. And there's so many different iterations to pull from of Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this Kickstarter. So you've got the Kickstarter up. Are there any particular stretch goals you got out there, or what's the plan?
It's kind of keeping it simple. It's just a PDF. It's pretty much ready to go. I just do a sort of final check once it's launched to make sure everything's all good. A little bit more feedback from Alan Rees is running it on the Gauntlet. But yeah, it's just a PDF because I don't want people to get a big fancy book and stick it on the shelf and never read it. I want them to use it. I want them to play the game and enjoy it, sort of thing. So it's just a PDF, basic, keeping it simple.
Nice. And if people back it, do they get access to the working draft right away?
Yeah, pretty much. It'll be out by the end of 2020 because it'd be good to have something to play over the holidays.
Absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. Well, Blake, thanks so much for making some time to come on Plus One Forward and share Season of Dreams with us.
It's always good to talk with you, Rich, and PBTA. Love the system. Going to keep playing it for years.
Awesome.
Plus One Forward is a production of the Gauntlet community, Richard Rogers and Rach Shalke. You can find us at gauntlet-rpg.com or follow us on Twitter at @+1FWD. If you would like to support our show, visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/gauntlet. The games mentioned on this show use the Apocalypse engine, which is a creation of Vincent and Magay Baker. The music for Plus One Forward is from the Savage Aural Hotbed CD Gomi Daiko. The songs used are Gomi Daiko, Metal Version, and Drowning Attitude. You can find more amazing tunes by Savage Aural Hotbed on their website, www.savageauralhotbed.com.
Hi listeners, Jason from Gauntlet Publishing here. I want to tell you about a couple of new things we have for you this month. The first is Nephews and Peril, a major expansion for Brindlewood Bay, the game of cozy murder mysteries and supernatural horror. Nephews and Peril is a collection of 6 new mysteries for the game, each by a different fabulous author, and some revised rules and gameplay advice. It can be found in the $6 plus Gauntlet Patreon feed until October 15th, and then Drive-Thru RPG after that. The next thing I want to tell you about is Codex Home, the first issue in Volume 5 of the magazine. Codex Home features new material for Trophy Gold and Brindlewood Bay, plus the all-new game Back Again from the Broken Land, which is about fantasy heroes recounting stories as they return home from a calamitous war against a Dark Lord, all while evading the remnants of that Dark Lord's army. It's a fantastic Powered by the Apocalypse game, and we're delighted to share it with you later in October. Remember, your contributions to the Gauntlet Patreon help support everything we do in the community, including this very podcast. As always, thanks so much for your support.